My name is Rhea, and for today's Pilates class, on the chair, you'll need a throw pillow. So that can be something square or rectangular, obviously small enough that it's about shoulder distance apart, so like nothing wide or too big, where holding onto it is a struggle. But that's the prop that we're going to need for today. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, so we'll begin in a seated position with the pillow resting onto our lap. Feet are planted onto the ground. And with that pillow resting onto your lap, I want you to put some pressure into it to where your arms start to straighten. And it might feel like maybe the pillow is sliding away from you, and that can work too. But just kind of warming up by pressing down and feeling that back of the arm connection and keeping your shoulders right under the ears. So as we're doing this, we want to make sure that the body itself is not moving forward or even leaning back as you press, but finding that strong stability as we warm up through the arms and upper back. We'll get ready to warm up through the legs. Okay, so now press and hold down onto your pillow, onto the legs. And from there, lift your heels up and lower your heels down. If you can see that from the side, lifting and lowering. Okay. And you'll also be able to tell if like one leg is lifting, higher than the other or lower than the other, because that pillow will kind of like tilt from side to side. So try to make it as even as possible as you're continuing to keep that pressure down through the hands into the thighs, through the pillow. So right now my feet are just parallel. So where the toes are forward, the heels are back. And again, making sure that we're not leaning or rocking back and forth with that lift and lower of the heels. So it's also starting to, even though we might not have even talked about it yet, we'll get there, but making sure that the core is turned on. So now when the heels lift, pull your heels together so that if you look down at them, they look like the letter V. So heels stay together, toes stay turned out. Continue to press hard and heavy into the thighs as you lower your heels and lift your heels. Okay, so now imagining that there's a rope or a string lifting you as tall as possible. Okay, and so with that lift, all of that core strength from within is helping you to stay upright, helping you to keep from rocking or rolling back and forth. Do about 5 more here. And as those heels lift and lower, can you also think of like a big belt wrapping around your waistline, around the ribs, around the hips, last 2. And final 1. Okay, so now from there, separate your heels, you're back into parallel. And this time the pillow will do a little dip and tip from side to side as you alternate the heels. One down and the other one up. One down and the other one up. Okay, so warming up through the lower legs, the ankles, all that important stuff so we can walk, stand, and move throughout our day. All right, so lower those heels down, grab the pillow so that it's upright, and especially if you have a more rectangular pillow, long ways between your hands. All right, so keeping it lifted off the thighs, I want you to press and squeeze, like your hands are gonna close in towards each other, squeeze that pillow, and then open back out again. Now, when that squeeze happens, that pressure from hand to hand happens, also think as if there were like another pair of hands on the outside of your rib cage, and your rib cage is pulling together just like the sides of your pillow are. Now, the awareness of how the arms are moving, we want it to come from the back of the body. Okay, so you guys keep going, but from behind the armpit and under the armpit, that's what we want to push your hands towards one another. Okay, Pilates, this is a move called hug a tree. So you could think about a tree right in between your hands and your heart, and you're trying to hug around it. All right, so now hold that squeeze and then start to rotate from side to side. Now, you don't have to have a death squeeze on that pillow, just enough. You just honestly hold it as you start to rotate from side to side. Inhale when you twist center. Exhale as you turn from right to left. Through center. And exhale to the other side. 2 more each way. And final one each side. Keeping that firm squeeze, that tall lift. Amazing. Okay. Now with that squeeze, if you need to rest the arms, rest them down, but trying to hold that squeeze, hold the pillow. We exhale to lift the arms up overhead and inhale to tap the pillow back down to your thighs. Exhale as you lift and keep the shoulders from creeping up towards your ears. So the neck stays long. So if as high as you can go is right here before those shoulders start to lift, then that's great. But if you're lifting up and your shoulders are hiding the ears away and creeping up towards the face, then you've gone too high. So just figuring out where your range is. And again, moving those arms from under and behind your armpits as those arms lift and lower. Last 4. Exhale as you lift. 3. Ooh, last 2. And after that last one, rest the pillow back down under, or not under, but on top of your legs, and scoot yourself back so that you're up against the back of your chair if you're not already there. Okay. So with that pillow, you can either let it rest onto your legs or even you put it off to the side. But it can be used as a sort of feedback tool to figure out like if one leg is lifting a little higher or if you're moving things like faster or not faster, but maybe too big out of the range than we should go. So we're trying to keep that pillow nice and level as you straighten your right leg. This is my right leg out in front of me, and start to slide it side to side. So it's on the chair, but what's holding it straight out is the quad. Okay. So it's not about lifting it out and then closing in or like rainbowing it back and forth. We'll get to those movements in just a bit, but for now, just the fundamental sliding back and forth. Do 2 more here. And then we'll switch to the other side. Okay, so place the right foot down, straighten your left leg as much as you can. Push your heel away from you, pull your toes up towards you, and slide that leg like you're just moving it in water or quicksand, something like really viscous, like honey or maple syrup. And so there's some resistance that you're creating for yourself. Last 3. 2. And nice job. Now last one, okay? So now if these next progressions feel a little too hard or too challenging, then just come back to that slide back and forth. So 6 times of lifting up and out and then sliding back in. Up and out and slide it back in. So it's like a semicircle here. Sliding it back in. Last 3. 2. So now on this one, we do kind of want to let that right side of the pillow lift up. Last 1. So when it comes back in, lower down, switch sides. Left leg, lift, open, lower, and close. Single side circles or one leg circles. Whew. 3 more. Lift, open, lower, close. 2 more. All right, now we're going to go the opposite way. So what that means is that you're going to open it, just slide it off to the side, but then lift up as you bring it back in. Open, lift, and close. Okay, so my left leg is like really pressing heavy into the ground to allow that right leg to lift up, to help it up. 2 more. And pressing up against the back of your chair will also be a little bit more of assistance for you there. Right foot down, left leg opens, slide, lift up, bring it in, lower down. Slide, lift up, bring it in, and lower down. Ooh, for 3 more. Last 2. And final 1. Okay, so once that left leg goes down, you'll either turn the pillow lengthwise. So again, if you have that rectangular pillow, if it's not too shallow of a pillow, you'll place it between the legs long ways. Now, I'm going to scooch myself forward, but you're more than welcome to stay up against the back of your chair. And that can also give us some feedback. So the goal here, and you can kind of see like the pillar that's behind me, is to stay in line with that pillar. So nice and upright without letting your ribs thrust forward or arch the back, or without letting the ribs collapse in or just curling the spine. So we want to keep that nice upright posture as if there's a rope or a string pulling your head towards the ceiling. All right. So now from there, you may have to hold onto your pillow just so it doesn't like drop to the ground, but opening your legs enough and then closing in and feeling that strong engagement through your inner thighs. Open the legs on the inhale, close on the exhale. 7, need 8 total. 6. Think about pressing heavy into your feet for 5. And like really working on a movement practice. It's called time under tension. So when you're moving slow enough and then holding at that end range, like I'm demoing here, you get a little bit more activation through the fiber. So it's like you give them a moment to all turn on and then you relax out of it. Last 2. So turn them all on and then open up. And now last one. And then open up. Give your legs a moment to breathe. Like maybe you windshield wiper them side to side. Rock and roll back and forth. Excuse me. Excuse me. All right, then place that pillow back between the legs and get that firm, strong engagement with your feet right under the knees. If you noticed me before, my feet were kind of wider so that when I started, my feet were under my knees. But now I want you to hold and stay into that strong engagement through those inner thighs. All right. So whether you're leaning back or sitting up tall, take your hands to the side or front of your chair. And then as one leg reaches and kicks out in front of you, if you're upright, you can lean back. If you're leaning up against that chair, press into that back of the chair. We're going to stay on that right side for 7 more. For 6. So now working through those inner thighs, your adductor muscles, as well as those quad muscles. 4. For 3. So it's like that pillow is going to drop any moment. Don't let it. Last 2. And then we'll switch sides after this. Final 1. Ooh, then place that foot down, press it into the ground, and switch sides. So I've got the left leg that's reaching out. And as I pull myself back upright, since I'm not leaning against my chair, give myself that little bit of range to hinge back, hinge forward. Last 3. So even if you're leaning up against the chair, like press into the chair as that leg lifts, and then kind of soften, just still leaning against the chair. Last 2. Ooh, and then final 1. All right, so then if you are away from the back of your chair, scoot yourself back so that you can lean back, okay? Now, if you are up against the chair instead of upright, I want you to scoot your hips out in front of you so that we are at an angle. So if I had the back of my chair behind my back, butt is in front of my hips are in front of my heart, okay? So take that hinge forward position, still working firmly through those inner thighs, hands under the chair to help open up through the chest. Lift your right leg, hold it there, and squeeze that pillow for 8, 7. Last 4, 3, 2, final 1. Then place that leg down and switch sides. Left leg up, squeeze in 8. Think about the space between your head and your hips. 5, 4, 3, 2. And after that last one, lower the leg down, take that pillow out, give yourself a moment there again to maybe windshield wiper those legs side to side or open, close them, back and forth. All right. So when you're ready to move on, pillow is resting onto the legs, feet are planted flat. You're going to take the opposite hand. So I've got my left hand over my right knee. The other hand can be down by your side or even helping to press on top of that hand. I like it down by the side though. All right, so then kind of how we started the class, you're going to press into that pillow. But now I want you to also focus on the right leg, lifting that heel up. So the knee is driving up to the hand is pressing down into the foot. Okay. And so while you're holding this right here, just take in some deep breaths. Again, make sure and check in. Are you sitting up tall? But also now bring your attention to your left rib cage and your right hip. Okay. So from the left side, where your arm is reaching to the right, over to the right side, imagine there's a seat belt coming across your body. So as your hand is pressing into the thigh, as your thigh is pushing up into the hand, we should kind of feel that seat belt of energy getting a little bit more intense, a little bit more activated. Go ahead and switch over to the other side. So right hand to left thigh, left hand on top, pressing down into the hand as your heel, left heel stays lifted. I don't know if you can see that in my video, but my left heel is lifted. So I've got that pressure up, pressure down, and now imagining there's a seatbelt line of just core strength connecting my right rib cage to my left hip. Okay, so we're finding we call them the anterior slings of the body, which is basically what helps to keep us from like leaning over to one side or staying twisted over to one side. These are just ways to help find balance from right to left, front to back, side to side. All right. So now from there, bring your hands back over towards the right side. I've got my left and my right hand stacked on top of each other. And so as those hands press down, almost like you're doing like a very slow motion CPR, press the hands down, lift the heel up, and imagine that seatbelt's getting tighter across the body. Then resist or let go. Exhale to press into each other. Inhale to let go. Okay. So these movements, again, the way that I set the classes up are like little tiny layers that we work up into. So if at any point the next layer feels too challenging or the next two layers feel too challenging, you always come back to the fundamental or the basics. Okay, so let's try 3 more here. Pressing the hands into the thigh, pulling the thigh up into your hands. Last 2. And last 1. And then switch over to the other side, right hand, left hand. Okay. And a little tiny rotation there. So lift the heel, press the hands, and release. Exhale. And release. Now remember, as you're pressing, we want the pressure to come from the back underneath of your armpits rather than us pressing from up here into your neck or your shoulders. So keep them down. Yep, they're not earrings. We don't need any scarves here as the summer months start to come. Last 2. And final 1. Okay, so now that pillow needs to go behind us for a little bit of lumbar support. Even if you're not leaning up and you can't feel the pillow, it's there if you do need it. So you can scoot yourself back a bit, but we do want to make sure that your hips are in front of your heart. Okay, so that pillow back behind us is sort of like a recliner support. Okay, so lean back against it. If you have a rectangular pillow, go ahead and bring it long ways. So it's sort of like a ramp behind you. All right, so with your hands holding onto the front edge of your chair, lengthening out from head to tail, I want you to start by lifting your right leg up and then lowering it down. We'll start and stay on the right side for the first 6. Exhale as you lift. Inhale as you lower. For 4. Exhale through the mouth. Inhale through the nose. 3. 2. And 1. Okay. So now that we don't have a pillow in the way, we have a lot more range to work into. Switch over to that left side as you lift and lower it. And maybe notice the difference between like how much you're pressing into the hands with them being on the chair. Okay. So little hint on this one, I'll kind of give it away, is your left hand is going to be pressing harder than your right because you're releasing that left side or left foot away from the mat. You don't have that support on the left leg, so your left arm has to support yourself that much more. So let's go back over to the right side. Your right hand presses harder, your left foot stays to the ground, and as your right leg lifts, press your left hand into the thigh. Like it's like, stop, don't go any further. Then you can just reach it out in front of you as the leg goes back down and then pull it over to the right side as that leg lifts back up. Yeah. So from the side, looks like this. As the leg lifts up, that arm kind of twists your torso just a little bit. So it's not just the arm that comes across the body. There's that little tiny twist for 3. Go two more. And final one. Okay, so now that we know where we're going, left hand anchors, right foot heavy, left leg lifts, right hand presses. I know now it sounds like a just straight up twister game. So I hope you know your rights from your lefts. For 5, 4, 3, 2. And after that last one, here's our final layer. So back over to the right side. With your left arm still reaching, I want you to lift, kick your right leg out in front of you, and you can just tap down. That's going to feel a lot heavier because now you have a long leg instead of a bent leg. So you could just honestly tap the hands to the thigh as you kick that leg out in front of you. Every time you kick, 4 more times, push your heel away from you, pull your toes up towards you. Halfway there for 3, 2, and 1. All right. Last time, last side. Reach that right arm out in front. Get ready to kick and straighten that left leg as your hand taps to the thigh. And repeat for 5, 3. Ooh, this leg is feeling heavy for 2. Quads are feeling it. Last and final 1. All right. So now scoot yourself up so that your hips, your heart, and your head are back into alignment. That pillow is still behind us. So again, it's just sometimes we use the props as sort of a feedback or a feel back loop. So with your feet planted heavy, your hands resting onto your lap there, lean yourself up against that pillow so you can feel that alignment from head to tail. But then coming and curling away from the pillow. So as your head nods towards your chin, start to slide your hands forward and then down the legs. And I want you to try to feel one bone at a time coming away from that pillow. And going down just as far as you feel comfortable. Always maintaining contact with the pillow. So at this point, like it's my very, very low back that's still pressing into the pillow. And then as I roll back up, feeling one bone at a time, lengthening that spine up. Ooh, so we'll do 2 more of those. Allowing those hands to kind of scrape down the leg. And again, remember, keep those shoulders away from the ears. Think of like widening or broadening through the back of your body to reach those arms down the legs. And then drawing those abs and ribs up and back. So like up towards the ceiling as the more you curl over, and back of the body. One more time, curling over. So for me, the feeling of like pulling back may kind of feel like a pressure back, like I'm pushing into the pillow a little bit. And then rolling back up, stacking the spine tall. Ooh, and then stay right there. All right. So lifting your right arm up like you have a question. And your left hand stays down onto the chair. We're going to take a nice side bend. And so the further you go, the more your left elbow and arm is going to bend to get you into that big stretch. Press yourself into that left arm to lift yourself back up and switch. Right hand down to the side of your chair and reach up and over into that left side body stretch. Then pressing into that right hand, lifting yourself back up and switch. We'll do 2 more or 3 total each side. Human body is an amazing creation. Like our spine was meant to move in these 4 different directions. We have flexion, we have extension. What we're doing right now is called lateral flexion or side bending. We also have rotation. And then some moves are even like an addition of the 2, like it might be flexing and twisting, okay? So after those, you're gonna take a twist. So take your right hand over towards the left knee, so opposite hand, opposite knee, And just turn, and your left hand can come behind the chair to kind of help you turn a little deeper. But stack the spine tall, 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 and exhale to twist a little deeper. Sort of like a Twizzler, like you want to stretch out the Twizzler and then twist it deeper. So then take your left hand over to your right knee, right hand behind you, lift tall, 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 and turn to the right. Look over that right shoulder. 3 breaths here. 2 more. And after this last one, go ahead and bring yourself back through center. With your hands resting onto your thighs, go ahead and lean back. Lift your chest up towards the ceiling. Hopefully that pillow is giving you that extra little cushion to get into that arch. And then not rolling down, but instead just pulling the abs back and rounding and flexing the opposite direction. Okay, then lean back, lift back up over that pillow, lifting the gaze, lifting the heart, and pulling your shoulders back and down. And then as you exhale, chin to chest, keep the shoulders broad and wide, and draw your abs in and up. One more time into that arch. And last and final time into that curl. Perfect. All right, then from there, lift and stack the spine up tall. Now we're getting ready for some of those like leg lifts, twists, like combo moves now. Okay. So we'll always start slow. And then if you need to stay at that slower pace, please, by all means. So I've just scooted my hips forward towards the front edge of my chair. So I'm leaning back into that pillow, into the top of my chair. Hands can be down under the chair, kind of supporting you, pressing you up as we start to lift your right leg and then place it down. Okay, lift the left leg. So now we'll alternate from side to side. Place it down. Exhale as you lift. Inhale as you lower. Okay, so just the first 3 is like a warm-up. Lift and then lower. Lift and then lower. You got it. All right, so then you're going to take both hands out in front of you. In a moment, we're going to add the pillow, okay? So imagine you're holding the pillow and like already you've got those armpits sunken down, like the shoulder soft away from the ears. Now, as the right leg lifts, rotate towards that right leg. Then bring it back down. Inhale. Exhale as you rotate, twist, wring yourself out like a wet towel, and then bring it back down. Exhale, rotate, twist, and bring it back down. Exhale, rotate, twist, and bring it back down. Okay, one more time, each side. Last time, last side. Technically not last time, because we're going to make it more challenging, a little bit more spicy. So take that pillow and remember how like we started with our arm work, a little bit of that pressure, like your hands are trying to squeeze in or touch each other. Okay, so the elbows are out wide, and just from like the bird's eye view, it's like there's this hula hoop in between your arms here. Okay, so holding that strong engagement, continue to lean back against the chair or stay upright to make it challenging. Lift that right leg, twist towards it, put it down, untwist. Exhale as you rotate. Inhale, bring it down. 2, 2. Final one each side. And one last side. All right, now I'm going to give you some extra credit here. So if you want to keep going, you will lift, twist, and press that pillow away, pull it back in, then come back through center. Exhaling the whole time this happens. And you'll notice because that pillow, it's not just air, but when you press it away from you, it tends to get a little heavier, a little harder, a little bit more challenging. Keep that upright spine. Make sure there's no collapsing or curling through it. Last time, last side, or last time, now last side. So last time, last side, left side. Ooh, say that 5 times fast. And then bring yourself back with the pillow onto the body and pull it like as close up into your belly as you can. So then you can lay yourself over top of it and reach those arms down to the ground. Okay, let your head hang heavy. The goal here is that with that pillow underneath of our belly or your chest is to create this sort of like assistance to curl the spine more, okay? So if you can like really get it under your belly and create this supportive shelf for your body to just relax into, then we're golden, we're Gucci here. Whew. Take one more inhale and final exhale. Perfect. Then go ahead and stack the spine up tall, hips, heart, and head into alignment. Now, if you do start to get a little tired or fatigued during this next set, we are going to be pressing up. We're going to be pushing out. So you can do this without the pillow instead. Try it with the pillow for as long as you can, but listen to your body. That takes priority. Okay. So just a little bit of pressure. You're not trying to like death squeeze it, but just a little bit of pressure here. You're going to start by pushing out and pulling in. Okay. And finding a grip that works best for you. So I started off with my thumbs on the side closest towards my body, but now they're right next to my fingers. Okay, so I know that just feels better on my wrist. 3, sitting as tall as you can, 2, and 1. Okay, now go ahead and flip that pillow so it's horizontal or parallel to the ground, and you're going to push it up overhead and then bring it back down in front of the body. Reach, press, pull, lower. So this isn't just a pillow. Think of this as like something very precious. You don't want to spill any contents that might be on the pillow, or maybe like this is a plate of food or like a platter of drinks. One more time. Okay, now we add those two moves together. So you'll push forward first, pull in, press up next. Just 3 to start. Push forward first, reach up next. Ooh. One more time forward. Last time up. Okay. If you need to give your arms a little rest, I'm going to show you what's happening next. So you're reaching forward and lifting up, and that's all you're doing for 3. Okay. So if you want to start now, go for it. 2. Remember again, listen to your body. Last 1. All right. Take another moment to rest. In a moment, your arms will be staying up overhead. We're adding a twist to the movement. Okay, so the pillow will be up overhead and we rotate your torso. So think your heart, shine it towards the right, come back through center and shine it to the left and come back through center. Now, if you want a little bit more arm work, like feel those shoulders sink down the back and squeeze that pillow just a little bit more. And if you're like, I don't want to do the pillow anymore, put it down, clap your hands together and press your palms into each other as the way to modify. Last one, right? And last one left. Ooh, then put that pillow down, either off to the side, you could rest it onto your lap, but then bring your hands behind you onto that back side of the chair. If you can't grab both hands, then just do one arm at a time. Okay, if you have both arms there, go ahead and lift your chest up, and honestly do that with your single arm too, but lift the chest up and think of punching your arms back behind you. So like push them into the chair to lift the heart higher, taller, more. And then nod the chin towards the chest, rounding the shoulders forward and trying to feel that broadening, that widening through the upper part of your back. You can give your neck, if it feels good, a little gentle roll from side to side. Okay, now if you did single arm, switch to the other side as we all come back up into that same stretch before, lifting the heart and the gaze, punching your arms back behind you. And then rounding forward, chin to chest, shoulders roll and widen and broaden through the upper back. Amazing. There we go. Lift back up. Let's take that gentle twist to the left. So right hand to left knee, lifting taller, twisting deeper. And then from there, switch sides. Left hand, right knee, right hand behind you. Lift, 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 and gently twist a little deeper. All righty. Okay. So The pillow is now going to come onto the ground. Hopefully you guys have a pillow that you feel comfortable putting on the ground. I should have mentioned that at the beginning. Sorry about that. All right, so the pillow's on the ground. If you don't have anything that you want to put on the ground, put like a couple of books or blocks underneath of you. We're looking for something that we can press our feet into and have like something to lift off of, okay? So heels together, toes apart onto that pillow. My hips will be in front of my heart, so I'm leaning back against the back of my chair, okay? So the goal of this is to focus on the abs, helping to lift a leg, and then also the legs to push down back into that pillow or block or books or whatever you have underneath of you, okay? So the hands are also there to help support and make sure that there's no like collapsing or arching, but to maintain the same exact position of your spine. So we'll start on the right leg to lift it up and out at that angle. So working on the external rotation of the hip, but then also a little bit of that oblique intention through the core. So every time my foot goes down, I'm pressing it into the pillow and then exhaling to lift that leg up. Okay, just that same position of the leg stays in that knee, but it's the hip that is closing and opening. 2. And last one. Now super duper press into that pillow with the right foot. Exhale, lift the left leg for 6. And inhale, press down. Exhale, lift up 5. And if it feels better to exhale when you press down and inhale to lift, that's fine. Just stay consistent with your breath for 4. 3. 2. And then after that last one, there we go. Your right leg lifts and you try to kick it out, bring it in, lower back down. Okay, so 3 on the right side. And then making sure that that strong connection is, I kind of like gave away the next level that we're getting into is taking those hands away, but keeping that strong intention through the core as if there's just a big old belt wrapped around that waistline. So to the left side for 3. Here's 2. And then last one. Okay. So now if you can, reach those arms out in front of you. Right leg lifts, kicks. And then place it back down. 3. And if you want to like reach those arms out wider, go for it. But again, reaching from the back of your body. 2. Woo. Final one, switch, left side, lift, reach, and lower back down with control. So we don't just like plop the leg because you lifted it. Great job. But can you also lower it the same way that you came into it? Oh my goodness. All right. So last set, right leg lifts, kicks, and now rotate or reach that left leg across to the right side and then bring it back down and in. Lift, kick, reach, twist, and bring it back in. One more time. And same thing, last side. Lift, kick, reach, twist. And that's just the mantra that's going through my head. So if you find something that works better for you, go for it. Oh my goodness. Final one. Bring your hands back underneath of you. Press yourself upright. So hips, heart, and head into alignment. And take your feet to the outside of your pillow and squeeze it between your ankles, between the lower parts of your legs. Okay. So just like how your hands were pressing into that pillow, that's exactly what my feet are doing here. Definitely make sure that you are scooched up to the very front edge of the chair. Okay. So the pillow, we know it's not air, so it's got some weight to it. But again, if it feels too heavy, don't do it with the pillow. You can do single side as a modification or both legs without the pillow. Your hands are on either side of the chair to support you. You're leaning back against the back edge of your chair. Lift and lower your heels as the first sort of layer into this for the first 6. 5. Getting ready to lift the legs. 4. This is where sometimes you might surprise yourself. Last 2. And final 1. Okay. So lower the heels first. And I want you to imagine like from hip, hip, rib, rib, those 4 points is like a box. Okay. So that box is not going to get any bigger and it's not going to get any smaller. Okay, so it stays the same shape the entire time. You just took a big breath in and it's like you're about to sneeze, but you're trying to like hold it in, okay? So hold and lift up and in with that connection to the core. As you lift your heels, and then try to lift your toes. Keep that firm squeeze into that pillow. Try it for 3 to 6. You choose what your rep range wants to be. If you can go for 4, you can do 5. If you only got 2, that's fine too. 2 more for me. Last one. Okay. So then lower back down. Give yourself a moment to rest and really focus on like opening up through the hips. And give them a nice little massage like I'm demoing here. Okay. And then come back into that start position, hands underneath of you, open up through the chest, lean back into the back of your chair. So like the pressure that you're putting into everything is helping you to stabilize and stand strong. Lift your heels, engage and wrap around through the waistline, and lift those heels or feet up and down for another 6 or 3 to 6, 5, 4. And then I'm going to give you an option if you want to spice it up. This will be our last layer for 3, arms forward out in front of you. Maybe one hand, maybe both hands. 2. Oh my goodness. There you go. Last one. And then once those feet come down, go ahead and stack your spine up tall. Ooh, open those legs out wide, super wide, so you're not even holding onto that pillow anymore. So even just holding that pillow in between your feet will activate and get those inner thighs a little stronger. So when you turn and twist to the right, press your left knee away from you. Lift back up, and as you turn and twist to the left, press your right knee away from you. Do that 2 more times each way. Last time, last side. Oh wait, just last time, second to last side, and then here's our last side. There's an ongoing joke about Pilates teachers is that we don't know how to count. So I apologize in advance if I left out a number or if I counted wrong. All right, go ahead and pick up that pillow again. You'll place it long side up on top of your legs there. And now the focus is, yes, a little bit of arm work, like you're pressing down into the pillow. You'll feel this through the back of your arms, but the focus here is more about the articulation of the spine. So as you press down, can you curl your spine? And then as you lift up, stack back tall. Something like a spring curling. I know springs don't really curl, but you're getting that coil of the spring tighter, and then lift back up, uncoil. For 4. As you're pressing down into that pillow, think ribs pulling towards your hips. 3. Last 2. And hold this curl. So we call this a C curve. In this position, lift your arms and then press back down. Lift and press. So uncoiling the pillow and then coiling deeper into that pillow. So every time you press, can you curl the spine a little deeper? That doesn't mean you're getting to curl forward more. If anything, you're feeling from within that deepening or connection into the core for 3, 2, and 1. Stack the spine up tall. Ooh, and then that pillow needs to come back behind us again. Now it's not really, I mean, it will rest if it needs to against the edge of your chair, but the goal here is to reach and hold that pillow behind us so we can not round your shoulders forward just to reach back, but to lift and open the chest to reach back. Okay. So if all you can do when you're grabbing the pillow is that sensation of like pulling the arms apart, then that's fine. Okay. But the goal here is that we're trying to press in on that pillow and then release. So I have a slight bend in my elbows, and that helps me to get more into that pressure versus like the opening of my arms. So bending those elbows, squeezing them into the side, and pushing your palms into one another is going to get those like under and behind armpit muscles that we're looking at or looking for. For our lats, whew, another muscle called the rhomboids between those shoulder blades. Let's try for 3 more. 2 more. And oh my goodness, last one. Whew. Okay. So lift the pillow now so that it is up against the upper part of your back. So you want to slide yourself back and sit upright. So the pillow isn't really behind the low back, it's more mid to upper back on that pressure there. Yeah, and if you need to like reach back and maybe lift it up, that might be helpful for you. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it's kind of like you have a little cape right there up and behind your body. All right, so this might feel like not a lot is happening, but the core is the initiation of the movement, legs also helping out. So with your hands, they can rest onto the chair or just onto your laps, whatever feels comfortable for you. Feel how the pillow kind of pushes you forward a bit. Okay, notice that. Then as you push into your feet, into your sits bones, lean back, squish that pillow as much as you can behind you and feel that engagement coming from the core. Maybe put your hands there or onto the thighs. And then let the pillow kind of press back against you. So you lean forward, push back, squish the pillow, lean forward, inhale, relax, release. Press back, squish the pillow, and notice how maybe there's like a little bit more length in your spine when you press back. Can you keep that length as you lean forward? Instead of this like lift, 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 and then collapse and relax. So like, can you keep that lift as you press, 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 and keep that lift as you let the pillow kind of bring you forward? 2 more times. Last time. All right, so now no hands. Reach those arms out in front of you. And as you push back and squish the pillow, open your arms wide. And then reach forward. Give yourself a little gentle round forward. Now, just because we're rounding the spine doesn't mean that you're collapsing. So all of this length, all of this stretch that you feel, can you keep that stretch and keep the space as you round forward? Okay, so it's almost like this feeling of hollowing the front of your body as if you're reaching around like a big ball. Inhale, open. Exhale, up and over to close. 2 more, open. You're still pressing into your feet, into your sits bones. Exhale, up and over, close. Last time, open. Like you're opening up 2 French doors. And then exhale, close and shut them all the way together. Okay, so now open those arms, lean back and hold that pressure into the feet, into your sits bones, up the length of your spine as your arms kind of make a little snow angel. Reach up and lower down. Lift and lower. Inhale and exhale. Last 2. And lower. Hold the arms up overhead. Last one. Your right arm stays, your left arm goes down. And then you switch them back and forth between the 2. Continue pressing into your feet, pressing into your sits bones, drawing your core up and in. Now this is all about coordination. Like as one arm goes up, the other has to come down and vice versa. 1 more. Right arm up. Last time, left arm up. Hold here, bring the right hand down to the chair and lean over into that side stretch again. Yes. Then switch the arms, left hand down, right arm up, and lean over to the left side. Then bring yourself back up, remove that pillow. We're going to bring it down to the ground again, this time for support with our knees, with our legs, as we finish with some stretching here. Okay, so start with your feet out wide. You'll scoot your hips forward. Now you do need to have some room off to the right and left side. So if you need to like move your chair off to one side or the other, take your time. I'm going to bring my right knee down onto the pillow. Now, it doesn't have to be like exactly on the pillow because now I'm just falling off the chair, but it's there as like, little friend of support. Now, when you do rest it down, I want you to find that alignment between your knee and your hip, so they're right in line with each other, and then hip and your shoulder, shoulder and your ear. My left hand is on the back of the chair, whether it's on the back side, like the resting part, or underneath of the actual seat of the chair. Depends on what feels best for you. Right arm lifts up and side bend over to the left, and really like dig your right knee down closer or heavier into your pillow. Inhale, come back up. And now this time, not just a side bend, but lifting your gaze and turning your heart up towards the ceiling into a slight rotation. So this is one of those combo moves that I talked about. Like you can do little side bend and rotation here. Come back up, looking forward. And then you choose if you just want the side bend, or if you want the side bend and that gentle rotation, looking up towards the ceiling, kind of like you're looking under or sniffing your armpit, making sure you wore some deodorant today. And then come back up. All right, so with that leg that's on the pillow, can you slide it back a little further? And if it doesn't stay on the pillow, just keep your foot reaching back behind you. So you see, like if my toe is tucked, like I've got my knee off the pillow, it's not there for support, and that's fine. If you do need something to slide against, you can push onto that pillow and press it away. But now we're looking for that front hip stretch, not into the low back. So you really want to keep that tailbone curled and scooped underneath of us. Now with your right hand onto that left thigh, yeah, you can go for that side bend if you want to again, but right hand to the left thigh for this extra little rotation, looking towards the back of your chair. Take one more inhale, holding strong and steady. And then as you exhale, bring it back to look center. Go ahead and slide that pillow back underneath of you and rotate yourself around to the other side. And honestly, you don't have to like turn yourself. What you could do also as an alternative, I'm sorry I didn't give you this on the other side, but you could push that pillow off to the side of your chair and you just scoot your hips over to the right or to the left and join us in that same stretch. Okay. But so you can see my profile, I'm going to keep turning. So my right hand is on the back of my chair. My left knee is under my left hip, hip under the shoulder, shoulder under the ear, and left arm right above everything. Leaning over to the right first for just the side bend. And then trying to dig or reach or press that left knee into the pillow or down to the ground. Ooh, so you've got two different anchor points. Go ahead and lift back up. And by anchor points, I mean the knee is reaching down and the anchor point of if you could push something away from you with your left arm. So go ahead and take that side bend again and then add that gentle little twist, looking up towards the ceiling. Oh boy, this side is way tighter for me. And then coming back through center. So you can get curious of like, why would one side get tighter than the other? Or why would it be tighter than the other? And typically, I don't know, I mean, there's always a and or an and but. So get ready to stretch that left leg back behind you, whether it's on or off the pillow is up to you. It could be a matter of like maybe that side works harder and so the muscles are tighter, or it could even be that that side doesn't work as hard as the other side. And so because of the lack of tensegrity, the lack of strength, that your body is kind of protecting it and holding that tension out of it. Left hand to right leg, or not the tension out of it, but tension into it. And turn a little bit towards the right side or back side of your chair. 3 breaths here. Ooh, for 2. And after that last one, bring it back center. Ooh, slide your feet back in front of you. Okay. Now you can totally rest your feet on the pillow if you'd like to. It does bring your leg up a little higher, so it does intensify the stretch a little bit more. If that feels like it's too much, then skip the pillow. We're going to bring the left ankle to the right thigh so we can stretch open that left outer hip. Okay, and then with your left elbow, excuse me, press into that knee without feeling any pain here. So you want to pull those toes up towards the knee and lean forward into that gentle stretch around the hip. Now definitely breathing deep. In through the nose, out through the mouth. This is called our external rotation of the hip. It's a much more common movement than what we're about to come into. So when you take that left leg off, step it out to the outside of your chair and body, and then allow that knee to internally rotate. Okay. This can be, it's a very subtle stretch, but it may also be hard for you to feel anything into because these muscles are so tiny and you might not feel them as much. If you still don't feel anything, you can kind of like, I've got the top of my foot, like the shoelace part of my foot on the ground, and I'm trying to slide it back and turn that knee in a little further. So by sliding the foot back, that gives my knee a little bit more range to rotate into, and feeling now that like capsule of the hip from around to the front of that hip, getting that gentle little release. And then we'll switch sides. The left leg comes up either on or off the pillow, and your right ankle comes to your thigh. Ooh, and then right elbow to right knee, pulling those toes up towards the knee and then leaning forward however far you feel you may need. Also, I'm sorry, you guys, for like coughing and kind of grumbling. Allergies this year, they're rough. They're rough for me. All right, and then from there, sit up tall, make room to move that right leg off to the side. I'm going to go the same route that I did before. So pushing that foot back, shoelaces down, and knee turned inward. And then like I've got the pillow underneath me. So that's kind of like a feedback or a cue that I can use for myself of like, try to get the knee to the pillow, try to push into the pillow. And that just intention of moving, like even though I'm barely even touching it, helps me to release through that front hip capsule. All right. Then from there, go ahead and step both feet either on or off the pillow. It's up to you. Taking a little sort of inventory of feeling the feet on the pillow or the ground, knees right above your heels, hips right behind your knees, and then stacked tall throughout the hips. So you feel your sits bones and imagine those are your feet. And can you stand a little taller? Okay, with your hands down by your side. We'll end with a little bit of extension. So with our chest expansion, your arms pull back behind you without really changing much shape in the spine yet, and then release the arms forward. So we'll start with those first 6. Inhale to pull the arms back, and then exhale to release them back under you. So from the side, looks like this, pulling the arms back, no change or difference in the body or the shape of the body for 3. Sorry, that should have been an inhale. So inhale back 2. And final 1. Now hold the arms back behind you and think of just your heart space. So right here at the top front edge of your chest, lift that up, reach your fingertips down more and lift your chin away from your chest. As you exhale, bring your spine stack back tall, hands forward. Okay, so from the profile, you pull back on the inhale first, lift a little taller through the chest and reach further down through the hands. And then exhale, reset, relax, and begin again. Inhale, lift and pull just the upper chest to the sky. And then exhale, release. Now, the reason why I'm starting or trying to cue you just through that upper chest is because most people will like thrust their ribs forward or dump into the low back. So pulling back and lifting, pulling your shoulders back more, lifting your collarbones wider. And that's the extension that we want. Well, one more time. Lifting, 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 and then exhaling to relax. Okay. So that upper part of our spine is where most people kind of hang out, where they're here. Okay. So if we can get that upper part to lift and open, then that means we can breathe better. We can move those shoulders a little better. We can work through and get blood pumping better throughout the body. Goodness gracious, that is already our time. So thank you so much for being here, everyone. I really appreciate these classes and I hope you do too. Give yourself a round of applause for not just showing up, but also for making time for your movement today.